Welcome to Learn Commerce PU online classes. Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.
So, welcome students. Today, let us see the contributions of Vijayanagara Empire. In the last class, we have seen their political achievement and at the same time administrative system. And today, that is the contribution, continuation, is the social condition. How the society existed during the period of Vijayanagara Empire. That is peace and prosperity which existed in society, harmony because of the strong rule of Vijayanagara Empire. And then even Brahmins, they adorned in the high position. As usual, in almost all the society, what we have seen, position of Brahmin usually high. So that it's continued even during the period of Vijayanagara Empire. And women, they had honorable position. They have had honorable position or respective position. But child marriage and even prostitution, polygamy is continued in the Vijayanagara Empire. What it shows that this polygamy or child marriage or prostitution, this is a sort of exploitation of women. That consider that women's position is not so good. That's what we can look at from this system. And that is the exploitation. And Muslims and Hindus, they lived in the very good harmony. And construction of mosque, construction of even the basadis, all these were done by Vijayanagara rulers. And that's about society. Coming to the economic condition, agriculture is the main source of income, and they divided land in order to fix the revenue, and revenue was fixed on the basis of the fertility of soil. So for that, a particular tax was fixed, and they used to cultivate rice, spices, beetles, etc. during that time. At the same time, even for the purpose of irrigation, they constructed dam, canals, tank, so all these things as a supporting irrigation facility. And then the main import commodity, that is elephants, horse, pearls, etc. were imported, and sugarcane or sugar, rice, clothes were used to export during the period, and even iron is also the commodity for export. And then we have to see the religion. What was the religious condition? As I told earlier, Vijayanagara rulers were religious tolerant. They provided opportunity for all the religions to exist in their kingdom. There was no exploitation of any particular kingdom. Even they have given importance to Islam, Even they have given importance to Jainism, Shaivism, Vaishnavism, etc. So that itself shows that Vijayanagara rulers, they were the religious tolerants, and during that time they built many basadis. Even Sangam rulers, they followed Shaivism, but later rulers, they followed Vaishnavism. And Vachana movement, which was continued during this period, Vachanas, Basavanna, and that movement continued during this period, and even Hampi, Srirangam, Shravanabelagula, Srishaila, and Kalahasti were some important religious center of the period. And these religious centers were provided with the grants by the Vijayanagara rulers. So this is what about religious aspects. Coming to the education and literature, their contribution to the education and literature, they are the pattern of education, and many literary works were produced during this period. It shows that they patronized various scholars during that period. That is very important to note. And even agraharas and matas were the center of education, even the temples. In temples, agraharas, matas, they used to provide education, and they played very important role. And Dulakshara, that is Dulakshara, is the primary education. Was a system of education called Dulakshara. It means what? What is means Dulakshara? Dulakshara means writing on sands. Now usually when a child begins its writing, we used to write in the rice sometime and sand. So here that is writing in a sand by using that. That is called Dulakshara. And primary education during that period was called Balabodhe. What is Balabodhe? Is the primary education. Balabodhe. Balabodhe means primary education. Hampi, Yadur, Kunigal were some important educational centers, and Vijayanagara kings, they also encouraged literature. That's why there were many Sanskrit scholars, Kannada scholars, and scholars in Telugu. Some important scholars and their works in Sanskrit, Madhava, Sayana, and Gangadevi. They wrote, Madhava wrote Prasara Madhaviya, and Sayana wrote Veera Kamparaya Charitam, and Gangadevi wrote Madhura Vijaya. Madhura Vijaya or Madhura Vijayam. And then Tirumalamba, she wrote Varadambika Parinaya. Guru Vidyaranya wrote Rajakala Nirnaya, and Krishna Devaraya, he wrote Jambavati Kalyanam and Usha Parinayam. This is the work in Sanskrit. And some important Kannada works. Totada Siddhalingeshwara, his Vachanas. Siddhalingayati wrote Sunya Sampadane. Kumara Vyasas, Karnataka Katha Manjari, and Nanjunda Kavi wrote Kumara Ramacharite, Kumara Ramanakate, Ratnakara Varnish Bharatesha Vaibhava, Bhima Kavis Basava Purana, and Chamarasa wrote Prabhalinga Lile, and then Kanakadasa's Mohana Tarangini, Nalacharite, and Haribhakti Sara, Ramathyana Charita, etc. Purandaradasa wrote Kirtanegalu or Kirtanas, and Narahari wrote Torave Ramayana, Nanjunda Shivayogi wrote Viveka Chudamani. So these are some important works of various scholars in Kannada. And in Telugu, apart from Kannada and Sanskrit, even literatures were produced in Telugu. Nachana Somanatha, he wrote Harivamsha. Srinatha, he wrote Kashi Khanda. And Krishnadevaraya, he wrote Amukta Malyada, a Telugu famous work, Amukta Malyada. Allasani Peddanna, he wrote Manucharitamu. This Allasani Peddanna is called Andhra Kavi Pitamaha, Andhra Kavita Pitamaha, okay, Andhra Kavita Pitamaha, and he wrote Manucharitam. And these are all the important works of them. So now we have to see the art and architecture. Apart from these contribution, Vijayanagara Empire, they also contributed to the field of art, painting, literature, etc. Some important features, so they developed Vijayanagara style of architecture. A separate style of architecture is called Vijayanagara style of architecture. And this style of architecture has certain features. So what are the features of this? That is, the temple consists of Garbhagriha, Shukanashi, and Mahamantapa, Arthamantapa. Their temples or architecture, they used to have even Garbhagriha, Shukanashi, and Mahamantapa and Ardhamantapa. Secondly, granite was used for the construction of the monument. Whatever the building they constructed, they used granite, very hard stone. And thirdly, pillars and piers are multi-angled pillars. Fourth one, the walls of the temple contains sculptures of folklore. Each and every temple's wall which depicted the folklore, gods, goddess, elephant, horses, such pictures adorn these walls. And fifthly, Sangeeta Mantapas were constructed in the premises of the temple for music, dance and drama. In order to felicitate, support, promote cultural activities, they constructed Sangeeta Mantapa, where even performance of Sangeeta or music, dance, drama were taken place. And sixthly, huge Raya Gopuras, means Raja Gopura in Kannada. Raya Gopura, they used to construct in the temple, the premises of temple, and gateway of temple. There will be a gate. So that gateway constructed with the Raya Gopura. Before going to the temple, that Raya Gopura used to construct. Rajagopura, what we call. And seventhly, Kalyana Mantapas were constructed in the temple for divine weddings. Even today, we see the temples also the place for weddings. Even church, even temple, they used to, arrange wedding ceremony in church and temples. Even during that time, they constructed, different mantapas for the purpose of wedding. And some important architecture, what we can see, the stone chariot at Hampi, stone chariot, Vitala Swami temple, Virupaksha temple, Krishna Swami temple, they are all, and Achyuta Swami temple, Hajara Ramaswamy temple, Mahanavami Dibba at Hampi. These are all the important architecture. And Vidyashankara at Sringeri, Ramalingeshwara at Tadapatri, Veerabhadra at Lepakshi, Jalakanteshwara at Vellore, Ekambaranatha at Kanchipuram, Shiva at Chidambaram were some important architectures of Vijayanagara Empire. And we also see the sculpture. They developed side by side. Religion was the main theme for the sculpture. For example, Kadalakalu Ganesha, Shashivakalu Ganesha and Lakshmi Narasimha statues at Hampi are some notable sculptures. The copper images of Krishnadevaraya and his two queens, Tirumala Devi and Chinna Devi at Tirupati, Tirumala, they are the very great, sculptural piece of Vijayanagara Empire. Even about the painting, paintings flourished along with the art and architecture. Vijayanagara Empire, paintings can be seen on the walls and ceilings of the temple, that is in Hampi, Anegundi, Lepakshi temple and Vijayanagara. Paintings are very grandiose. In the temple they used to, provide these paintings, and this became the centers of the, paintings, and that is shown in the different temples. And about the fine arts, music, dance, etc. Dasakuta, Vyasakuta of the time contributed to the development of music. Vadiraja, Vyasatirtha, Purandaradasa and Kanakadasa, they are the great musicians. They belong to this Vijayanagara period. Purandaradasa is called father of Carnatic music. That is, father of Carnatic music. Karnataka Sangeeta Pitamaha. So this is about their fine arts. And let us discuss about the foreign travelers. They visited the court of Vijayanagara. The various foreign travelers, they visited Vijayanagara in the different periods. They provided an account of Vijayanagara in their writings. And these records of foreign travelers available even today. How these foreign travelers looked at Vijayanagara and they registered in their writings. For example, Niccolo Conti is an Italian traveler, visited the court of Vijayanagara along with his wife in 1421 Common Era. Devaraya I was the ruler of Vijayanagara Empire during that time. And he says that is Niccolo Conti, this Devaraya I had nearly 90,000 soldiers and king was very powerful. And Abdul Razak, he also visited, a Persian traveler, he visited the court of Krishnadevaraya II in 1443. And he also explained about the grandeur of Vijayanagara Empire. And he said about 12,000 security personnel to safeguard the city. That Vijayanagara was safeguarded by nearly 12,000 security guards. And he said about the celebration of Mahanavami festival in a great splendor. How Mahanavami festival was celebrated. Even today, Dasara festival celebrated in Mysore. So that was taken from Hampi during the period of Odayars. So that is how they used to, celebrate. And Nikitin is another traveler from Russia. He visited in 1470. And Jurek Barbosa, a Portuguese traveler, he visited during the period of Krishnadevaraya in 1520. He described the multi-dimensional personality of Krishnadevaraya. And Nunes, another traveler from Portuguese, he also provided a light on Vijayanagara Empire. So this is what how Vijayanagara was seen by different scholars and different travelers, and how this empire continued for a long time. But I said, this Vijayanagara Empire, which came to an end after the battle of Talikota. Talikota battle is a great death blow to the existence of Vijayanagara Empire. That completely ruined the glory of Vijayanagara Empire. It buried. But after the disintegration of Vijayanagara Empire, there was no other power to control South India. And various subordinates of Vijayanagara Empire, they declared independence and they ruled themselves. And among such chieftains, we have Nada Prabhus, Nayakas of Keladi, Nayakas of Chitradurga, and later Odayars of Mysore. And they continued to rule this part after Vijayanagara Empire. And let us see the Nada Prabhu. Nada Prabhus of Bangalore. Ranabhaire Gowda was the first leader or king of this Nada Prabhus. And he extended his empire, established a strong empire in North Karnataka, near Bangalore, Yelahanka, and later his son Kempe Gowda, he succeeded, and Kempe Gowda, he built a city, that is Bengaluru. That Bengaluru was constructed by Kempe Gowda, that is the son of Ranabhaire Gowda, that is in 1537. And second important chieftains, Nayakas of Keladi. These Nayakas of Keladi were the feudatories of Vijayanagara Empire. And here, this Nayakas of Keladi, they ruled 1499 to 1763 Common Era. And their rule stretched from Goa, Karnataka and Kerala, this part. And this dynasty, that is important ruler of this dynasty, Shivappa Nayaka, is a great administrator. Shivappa Nayaka is a great administrator, and he was a great reformer of revenue. And his revenue reform is called Shivappa Nayakana System. Shivappa Nayakana system. What is meant by Shivappa Nayakana system? It is a revenue reform. How? So there will be a question. Write a note on Shivappa Nayakana system or revenue reforms of Shivappa Nayaka. And the first one, that is, he divided the land into Uttama, Madhyama, Kanishta, Adhama and Adhamadhama. That is Uttama, the fertile land or soil. And Madhyama is a red soil land. Red soil land. Kanishta means sand mixed land. Adhama, land without moisture. Without moisture. And Adhamadhama, that is barren land. Barren land. In this way, very systematically, Shivappa Nayaka classified the land for the purpose of fixation of revenue. And what was the revenue? That is, he fixed 1/3 of gross product. Gross produce. That is the 1/3. If a farmer gets 3 quintal, 1 quintal should be given to government. So that is the fixation of revenue. And the taxes were collected both in kind and cash. Kind and cash. And after Shivappa Nayaka, Chennamadi, Keladi Chennamadi was important queen of the period. And after this Keladi Nayakas, one more chieftains, that is Nayakas of Chitradurga. That is Nayakas of Chitradurga, that's very important, that is Madakari Nayaka. Madakari Nayaka was important ruler of this period, and even Tippu and his army, they attacked Madakari Nayaka's kingdom. During that time, Obava, a brave lady, she protected Chitradurga fort from the advent of Tipu Sultan, or from the invasion of Tipu Sultan, and Tipu Sultan was defeated. And that was the great, courageous woman. Because of her, he could protect the Chitradurga fort. And then what we can see, Tipu Sultan and Hyder Ali. And later, after this Nayakas of Chitradurga, Wadayars of Mysore. Wadayars of Mysore, they came to power. That is, two brothers, Yaduraya and Krishnaraya, they founded the Wadayar dynasty in 1399. Krishnaraya and Yaduraya, they were the feudatories of Vijayanagara Empire. They later, after the decline of Vijayanagara Empire, they declared themselves as independent and they continued their rule. And later they declared independence, rule from Mysore area. Srirangapatna was the capital of these Mysore Wadayars in the early days. Goddess Chamundeshwari was the royal deity, and even Gandaberunda was the royal emblem of this dynasty. Even today, Karnataka state having the royal emblem of Gandaberunda, a bird having two heads, and this was taken from Mysore Wadayars. Their royal emblem was Gandaberunda. And Mahanavami festival of Vijayanagara was continued as Mysore Dasara by Wadayars, and the credit of starting Mysore Dasara in the year of 1610 common era goes to Raja Wadayar. So Raja Wadayar started the celebration of Dasara. So this Mahanavami celebration continued as a Dasara during the period of Raja Wadayar in 1610. And among the Wadayars of Mysore, Chikkadevaraja Wadaya, Devaraya Wadayar is one of the famous ruler of the period. So among the Wadayars, Chikkadevaraja Wadayar was the greatest king, and he was an able administrator of the period. He provided very strong administrative system. During this period, many constructive works were done, and he had many titles for his greatness, like Karnataka Chakravarti, Apratima Veera, Apratima Veera, Tenkana Raja, Raja Jagadev, Maharashtra, Bhupala, Jalaripu, etc. were some titles. he earned because of his greatness. And he collected nearly 9,000 pagodas, that is gold coins. That is why he also had the title Navakoti Narayana. Navakoti Narayana. So there will be a question, who is called Navakoti Narayana? That is Chikkadevaraja Odeyer, because he collected 9 crore pagodas. That is 9 crore means Navakoti. And at the same time, the king secured the friendship of Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb by sending an embassy to his court. He composed as a scholar, Chikkadevaraja Odeyer, he composed Gita Gopala and Chikkadevaraja Pinnapam. Gita Gopala and Chikkadevaraja Binnapam. Being a great scholar, he wrote this, and he purchased Bangalore from Mughals by paying 3 crores of gold coins called Varahas. That is Vara, gold coins. That is 3 lakhs gold coins. And during his rule, administration was divided into 18 departments. 18 departments. And that is called Atara Kacheri. He introduced Atara Kacheri. 18 departments. All these 18 departments, they are doing their work in the different strata. By making this department different, he made an effective administration. And during this period, even Vijaya and Chikkadevaraja Vijaya, Tirumala Raya wrote Chikkadevaraja Vijaya and Apratima Veera Charita, those great scholars of his period. Another poet, Singaraya, he wrote first Kannada drama Mitravinda Govinda. This is the first Kannada drama Mitravinda Govinda. Written by Singaraya. Singaraya, he wrote Mitravinda Govinda. And Sanchiya Honnamma, she wrote Hadibadeya Dharma. Hadibadeya Dharma. In Kannada, Pativrateya Dharma. That is, it advocates equality between men and women. Men and women in this book. So, these are all the important contribution made by Chikkaraja during the period of Chikkaraja Chikkadevaraja Odeyer. So, this is how after Vijayanagara the various minor kingdoms ruled Karnataka or southern part of India, and they provided a sort of contribution to South Indian art, architecture, culture, etc. In the next class we have to see later kingdoms like Bahmani and Adil Shahis in southern India. Thank you very much.
Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.